Welcome back everyone for another episode of Planet Nomads. Now, this has been a problematic week for me with the game. First off, when I was still back over there at my resource production area with the new solar power thing, I was working and it was fine. I saved the game, came back to this. Massive stuttering. Just massive stuttering because of a design. I knew it was the same issue I had before with the previous save where I came back in, it was stuttering bad. So I flew away, going far north, and then coming back and seeing the solar spinning power plant working and working fine. So I knew it was something with the design over here on the base. And of course, the only design that would be causing that was the massive flying fortress, which is now no longer there. Basically, I spent a half hour flying from there using the air miner to land in the corner, not even turning off the flight system, just to land so I could get a look at the problem with the flying fortress. And you can see here in the pics that I've got on screen what the problem is. And that was that the physics engine caused one block to shift out of place, which caused all the blocks to its side to shift out of place and up as well, and it just threw everything out of whack. Everything just went completely crazy, and it was a pain. I ended up having to take each of the damaged sections, which is what I'm going to term them as, off. Basically, cutting one piece that was connecting here and the other piece connecting here, so they fell onto the base platform. And when I finally was able to do that, everything started working again. So I went ahead and spent the rest of the hour I spent just doing all that to dismantle the whole remaining part of it. Completely down to the last block, last single piece. And so it's been all tucked away in here in my storage boxes. So I have plenty in my storage containers right now of parts. I actually have over 7,000 basic frame and plating Mark 1 because all my fabricators continue working like normal. I had over 1,000 waiting to be produced when I went back over to the production area there and came back, and now they are done. I actually had to go and add some more production to it. So I'm basically, what I want to do today is I haven't had time because of that to test any designs for the conveyor system. And this is actually the second take of this video. For some reason, the video, I was, 30 minutes into the video, getting started on some good test builds on the structure, and my system shut off. Lost all the video, lost all the work I did, so this is take 2. I'm just having problems with this game this week. It does not want to cooperate with me in any way, so what I was doing is basically I have the conveyors hooked up here in the corners so I can start connecting to there and to over there. But the problem is they're going to sit there. I really don't want to run them up like that, visibly. I would like to minimize how much is shown. So I want to instead build another platform here, basically some more of these so that it covers this up. So, you got a roof over your head when you're walking out to that rail car that I'm eventually going to build. And I need a way to get these above that so it's concealed. So what I'm going to actually do is take those out and move them up to the 3rd floor and have all that connecting down through the ceiling tiles with the conveyors. And that way it gives me all of that. Then I can build something that goes up there and it sits above the rail car system with no problems. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that now, and hopefully not have a problem with the game crashing or anything like that, because I did have some major issues in the last take where certain things, it froze up for like a minute at a time trying to do the physics calculations just for me to take a certain component off. Like, if you don't take it off in the right order, it's going to go crazy in terms of how the physics work and what it has to do to calculate them. And yeah, there's points it was just locked up for like a minute straight trying to get everything calculated and working again. So I'm going to try and avoid any problems with that, hopefully. No guarantees, but yes, I'm gonna go ahead and get to work and try to get caught back up to where I was before the system crashed, and this will probably just end up being a much shorter episode than normal for my Planet Nomads series. Okay, so one thing I did in the previous take is I put item dispensers on the inside area of these two on the far ends and one in the middle, and basically that covered everything, but it didn't give me as much coverage as I could have had. So I've redone it, and I actually have this one right here. You see, I only have one showing connected, but if I walk along this way, you'll see it happen right about there. That one lights up, and now I actually have two showing me connected. Really, actually three. I've got three. So I was getting one of the ones over here, apparently, because I came in range. But yeah, that's basically, I've got item dispensers, which means when I want to place something down, you can see I have 7,585 basic frames available to use. The problem is when you take things away, it puts that stuff in your inventory instead. So it does mean you have to remember to empty your inventory out later if you don't use everything. Fortunately, anything that you need, like basic frames, will come from your inventory first instead of coming out of your storage system you've got connected. Now, what I want to do here, and I did this a little differently before, but now I'm just going to do this because I do want to have growing production up here. I want to have the greenhouses up here, so I'm going to need a way to link it in the same way I've done on the ones below. So we're just going to do the multi-direction one. I actually did have it where I was doing like this, and you know what, actually just for looks, I don't like having the open connections there. I prefer to have it look like it is fully enclosed system. So we're going to go this route again like I did before, and what I do is I put this in place, and then let's see, where is it? Basic, yeah, just the basic short wall section right there. Done. So I have that, and I am needing to recharge or reload my battery. All right, so now I'm going to do a corner piece, because that way it connects here. We'll connect this way, but not that angle. We'll go, all right, this, I gotta get here more used to this, and which color means what for each piece, or just they need to make it where it's like, you know, like Empyrean seems to make it a little bit easier. It's not quite as wild, but that may just be my perception and opinion of it. But there we go. So we have it connected. It's connected to the system below, and now I can actually build out from here. If it doesn't lag up again, keep an eye on things, make sure it doesn't mess up again. And I'm trying to save regularly, just in case. But what I will do is, I don't want to have a lot of trunks coming off of this. I basically want it to come down and be like this. And then what will happen is it will, you know, connect, say like from God, if I get to line up again, it's all about getting that right distance from your target point and then holding it steadily. So do it like that. If I have it like that, and I'll probably change the connector there, so it'll connect back to this way. Everything will connect together, just so if something gets broken accidentally somewhere, I don't lose all functionality. And then it will connect out that way. And now I need to do the ceiling pieces, and I want to make sure they line up kind of the same way here. So we'll do, yep, that's right. So we're going to go 4 on each, and I misaligned. We're going to do 4 of those, which makes for this, looking like that. Just basically a replica of the lower section, but to serve as an actual ceiling rather than, you know, a standing floor. And I'm not going to have it where I walk out from here. This is going to be just for this. And I may do the actual, like, the rails there too, just to make it look neat that way. And yeah, I am using the same white color. It's just it always has black on the underside anyway. Alright, so that side's done. Now I need to get the other side done as well. And since I do have access to all my resources because of my nice item dispenser there, I can build somewhere along here. So what I had last, and not that piece, Hopefully the rain will stop shortly. Let's see. All right, yeah, so that's just the same one. I've got to clean up my toolbar at some point. So I'm going to do like 2 of these just for a test in height-wise. And what I ended up finally deciding on is I think I'm going to actually build out like this. And I'm going to have it where it has on each side, like it's not just one small platform. It's going to be a wider one. And now the problem here, actually now that I am looking at it again, the problem is this is all linked into this part, which means if I want to build a rail car system, that's not going to work there. So I actually do need to elevate things up a bit differently. Oh, this is, yeah, different. You know what? For now, I'm just going to do it this way, and then I'll figure out a way to rebuild it, because I'm not even sure I'm going to do the rail cars still. I've already heard horror stories about, you know, the cars not working, like it doesn't line up right, or it breaks it when it tries to render at a great distance. So I'm afraid I might end up with that sort of thing happening, and my car system, the rails just break. This may not even work, even though it's rendering technically stuff over there. The chunks are loaded. It may not work at this distance. I may end up having a problem where I have no working conveyors as a result of that distance. That is a possibility. So why bother with building for something that may not work in the end? So we'll just go ahead and do for building a conveyor system and nothing else. And I'm going to use these. I did test and check, and now the thing is, short inner wall is 350 in weight. If I use just full armor blocks, it's 30 in weight. And these are 7 armor blocks in length, so 210 in weight. However, it's a lot more resources and it's a lot more time consumed to build across, so I'm not going to do that. Another aspect of this that is a little bit problematic really is you cannot place conveyors on top of something. They won't lock into something. They actually have to physically connect, which is, you know, honestly, I can understand it a bit, but it also makes things a little bit weird. And I am going to be using these longer connections because it saves resources and time. But for now, we're actually going to start with a short one, I think, is what I want to do. We'll just go ahead and I'm going to build like this for the moment so I can connect to it. And like that. And then the long piece one, like that. So that's connected. So what will happen is if I take this block away, it's basically going to try and roll off. It'll disconnect and roll off. So I don't want it to be able to roll. So I need a fix for that. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I do want something a little bit more stylish in a way too. And so even though I've got like the long, short wall piece there, it seems to be trying to calculate, is this going to fall or not? And more likely, I think what's going to happen is, even though those 2 side blocks are, or the one side block's connected, the other one there is not connected. So you see how long it's taking just to calculate that this far end block, that one, was going to fall. That's how bad the physics calculation is in the game right now. The physics calculation for this game is absolutely terrible. What I will do is I want to connect the electricity along the way, because I do want the farming areas, the mining rigs, all connected through here. And I would then be able to say, hey, I want to turn off all of those, and I just turn off one switch and it disconnects the entire operation. Then I turn that switch back on and bam, everything's back up and running. So the problem here is, how far can I go before the switches won't connect? Okay, so basically the answer is 20 meters, because if I'm standing right here, right on top of the block, I'm 20 meters away from that beacon, and that means that this is 20 meters away from there, and they are connected. So 20 meters is my distance, and rather than just relying on that, I probably also want to know, you know, how many of these I can go before I lose connection. So I'm like right almost at the end of that one. So that's 1, 2, make sure I'm counting right, because that's okay. Let me rethink this. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. I'm still not used to the way these visually look entirely. So let's try another one. Yeah, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically. Yeah, so 1 there on the end. That's the other end. 3, 4, 5, 6. So with that being the actual middle connection where I branched off this, yeah, that connects all the way to here. That is not a standalone block, is it? I don't think I did that. I may have. I cannot remember. Nope, that's it. Yeah, so I go 20 meters to connect each switch, which means that is basically the distance I need between the wraps for the conveyors. So I can get quite a few conveyors in there, but it's also a matter of, do I want to go with that close for my support struts? I feel like I could probably get twice the distance, go 40 meters, and then do support struts for it. That might be how I do it, but I think I'm going to try to focus on doing that this week. Now that I know how I want to do it, I've got a general idea of the design basis for this. It's just a matter of now building out from that spot to here, and then building the structure going across and actually having it work. It's I know how high I want it to be. I know roughly, you know, how far out. I think I might have to build. This might actually be the perfect spot for it. I'm not sure how wide the rail car will end up being if I end up being able to do that, but that might actually be the perfect spot for it right now, is where I physically have it set now, just inside the what will eventually be outer walls and going across. So it's really just, I need to branch out here and create the interconnection for that, and then build up to that level and start building straight shot across along with all my power production for it. So yes, that is going to be it. But oh man, these item dispensers, having them right now connected into all that, it's just so much easier to be like, hey, I want to build this, and I've got over 7,000 frames to do so. It won't help me when I get far enough away, so I will definitely be doing a big inventory full of supplies for building these. But that's going to be my starting project this week. Hopefully no more physics issues with the game, because I've gotten rid of that big design that was out there causing all the problems. And that means I just need to get this moved higher and start building across. So that is going to be it for today's episode. Again, you know, this is a shorter episode probably in the end, because this is take number 2. I've had another, you know, crash where I lost my video. I also had all my work done before lost, and I had problems with the physics, and that I could not do very much work this week with it because of that problem. And yeah, it's I've got plenty ahead of me now, but I know what to avoid so this doesn't keep happening, hopefully. And hopefully it won't happen to you, because you're learning from my suffering. But yes, that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I will see you in the next video.